Hey boyos, daily check-in with John V. June 13th, 2025. Not much to talk about, same as always. My life is not exciting, there's nothing new. Yeah, I seen I seen one of my used to be friends. He used to be a longtime friend of like, I don't know, almost 30 years. And I seen him as my mother was driving down the road. I seen him walking down the side of the street, and he looks like shit. He looks like absolute trash. He's the same age as me, and he looks really bad. I mean, out of all the friends I've had, I think he was the only one who I would have considered better looking than me and when I was younger. But that ain't the case anymore. He looks pretty bad. He's even more bald than me, if that can be possible. And I'm very surprised because a couple years ago he didn't look like he had problems with his hair, and now it looks like he's severely balding, and he looks like a bum. Like, he looks really dirty and unwashed, and he just looks like trash. He looks like he doesn't work out at all. He looks like he just plays games all day, and that is all he does, is just play games all day. That's when I last checked in with him. That's all he did. Didn't work out, wasn't active, was overweight, and that's still the case, except now he's quite bald looking, worse than me. I'm making effort. I'm putting in effort to try to change my appearance, but it looks like he's going backward. Because I know for a while there he was putting in an effort to improve his appearance, and it looks like in the year or so that I haven't spoken with him and haven't seen him, it looks like he's went downhill quite a bit. He looks like absolute shit. So I don't know. That's all his problem. It's not on me, right? If you want to make a change in your life, only you can do it. Nobody else can do it for you. But that's enough talk about him. I applied at a few shit jobs um, recently. One of them is literally bottom of the barrel. Nobody wants to work there. They don't give yearly performance reviews with a raise, and that's garbage because it's standard procedure around here to once a year give a performance review with a possible raise. And this one place I applied at does not do even that. Nobody wants to work there. It's been reviewed online, 3 reviews, and they're not good. And I'm just checking Yelp really quick because I did submit a review somewhere. Because the issue was, well, for a while there, I was submitting reviews for restaurants and coffee shops and businesses in general for quite a while, and I went to Robin's Donuts, and got some coffee and um, some chicken and taters, and they skimped out on the chicken. They gave me 3 small pieces and a large piece, and that's just not acceptable. Because who are they saving the large pieces for? Because a half a chicken, you buy a half a chicken, you should expect to get a breast, a thigh, a leg, and a wing, right? And what they gave me was a breast, a wing, and 2 legs, no thigh. And that's kind of BS because automatically I thought, are they saving it for their friends, the larger pieces, or are they saving it for people that actually give a tip? Because I don't give a tip because I don't believe you have to give a tip because a tip is not, you don't have to give a tip. If you're working at a job expecting to get tips, you're in it for the wrong reason. You're in it for the wrong reason. Because a tip is, what's the word for it? It's optional, right? And I never worked anywhere when I worked in any kind of restaurant setting. I never expected tip money because I don't expect customers to tip. they're not required to leave a tip. A tip is optional. A tip is just a luxury. And I really think they skimp out on the chicken for me because I don't typically leave a tip. And the thing is, if they knew how much money I was making, they would understand why I don't leave a fucking tip. Because I can't afford to. I'm not giving my money away to people who are probably making 2 to 3 times as much money as me a month. Um, right. I'm not giving them free money of my money. They should be giving me money because they make twice or 3 times as much money as me, maybe even more. So why the fuck would I give them hard earned money? Why would I give them, my little money that I get? It makes no sense. But that's enough about that. We'll move on to something else. But yeah, I was playing for a while on freecash.com, and it's a site that allows you to play games and pays you in return. It's nothing special. Um, you have to put in an extraordinary amount of time to actually get decent rewards, and it's just not worth it. Like, I've made maybe $25 on there in the past few days. I've been playing almost all day, and it's just not worth it. And the other money that I have on there is just from buying the in-game currency and stuff with real money, and they basically credit you back what you paid and maybe a little bit more. So that's the only reason why I bought those welcome bonuses on some of the games, because they just give me the money back on the free cash account, right? So I might as well do it. And I tried my hand at a few of the games, played for a while, and like, to get the bonuses requires an insane amount of time and commitment and skill, and I don't have any of those. Like, and the problem too is a lot of them aren't skill based. They're basically restricted by energy that you get to spend in game, and they make it so tight of a deadline where you actually have to play like 20 hours a day the one game to actually meet the requirements to get the money. It's just not worth it. I don't see any other way that people could be meeting the requirements to get the bonuses, right? Some of the games have like meters that you fill for time that you've played, and then after a certain amount of time you've played, they give you a bonus based on how long you've played, and it's a very meager bonus. It's play for like 6 hours to get like a $10 bonus, and it's just not worth it, right? But that's all I want to really say about that. But yeah, I'm really rotting these days. I mean, I'm still dieting. I'm still losing weight slowly. I have a weigh-in coming up on the 20th, I believe. I don't remember the exact day. I'm going to have to call the pharmacy to find out when my appointment is, because that's the day I do my weigh-in. And I don't quite remember. I think it's the 20th at 2:30, but I will find out like the day before for sure. Um, and I haven't been dieting really hard. And I had made it a goal of mine to walk every day, and that lasted 3 days. That's it. I just couldn't do it. I can't commit to anything. It's just when you're on a downward spiral, it just seems to get worse. It's like life will just spiral out of control if things if certain key factors aren't in place. Life can literally just spiral out of control downward, and it sucks. Um, like, I'm quite confident if I had a good paying job, something that actually paid good money, that wasn't some bottom of the barrel garbage job that sucked ass and boring and everything like that. If I'd be confident if I have a job that I enjoyed that actually paid good money, um, and I was active at my job, everything in my life would improve, right? Because my appearance would improve as well. Because being more active, I'd lose more weight. But it's like a downward spiral, and it doesn't seem to end for me. It's just like I try to set goals for myself, and I can't commit to them. It's because I'm unhappy with life, and I don't do anything except for sit at my computer playing games, and I barely even do that anymore because games are boring. Like, I miss a bit. I watch some YouTube videos. Um, play a little bit of games, but aside from that, I don't really do anything. I smoke. I smoke like 50 cigarettes a day. I'll go out for a smoke sometimes every 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, literally, and just smoke, smoke, smoke. And I don't seem to do much else. I don't know. Something has to change because life is life is kind of crappy now. I mean, when I was like 20, 25 years old, life was great because everything was still new and exciting. Now at 41, I've done all the things I wanted to do, which wasn't very many things, but I've done all the things I set out to do and wanted to do, and now there's nothing left. I have no real goals or things that I want to accomplish or do with my life because I've done them all, and I know somebody asked them what they would do if there was an alert stating that there was a nuke going to be dropped on Canada, and kill everybody. And they said, well, I'm not really scared of dying. I've done everything I want to do. And they're close to my age. And they said, I'm not scared of dying. I've done everything I want to do. So what's the point of being alive? That's kind of a depressing thing to say. But that's literally like my thoughts on it too, is just I've done what I want to do with my life. What's the point of being alive, right? You know, it's a very depressing outlook. Very depressing. But I don't know. Something has to change in my life. And the thing is, I'm not required to work because I am disabled. And the thing is, I don't even really want to work anyway because what I have to look forward to is a shit minimum wage job for like 15.50 an hour. And literally after paying the bills, buying smokes, eating out every day for lunch, I'm left with almost no money to spend. I'm left with no money to play with. So it's not much different than now, right? I mean, it would give me twice as much money as I have now, but my expenses would increase a bit because my medication, I get some expensive medication, and it's all covered by my health plan through welfare. And if I start working, I no longer have a welfare health plan anymore, so I have to pay out of pocket for the medication. So that's another expense, right? And I would start eating out every day for lunch unless I just skipped lunch and just ate a small breakfast and a small supper and that's it. But something really has to change. I've done the math, I've thought it over, and something has to change because I'm literally just like rotting. I'm just rotting. And I don't know how my used to be friend that I seen earlier today, I don't know how he does it. Because like last time I checked in with him before he cut me off, cut our friendship off, he was off work because of an injury. And all he did with his does with his time last time I checked in with him was just he'd get up every day, play games on his computer, go to bed, next day do the same fucking thing every day. Just play games on his computer. No social life, no hopes and dreams and goals that I'm aware of, and no girlfriend, very few friends, no social life. Like, I don't understand what he lives for. I don't understand what people my age live for, right? Unless you have some career that you absolutely adore, I don't understand what there is to live for. If I had a career that I absolutely loved and actually was skilled at, I'd have a reason to live. I'd have a career, something to look forward to and do every day. But I don't really have expertise. I'm good at things, but I don't have expertise. Like, I don't have special training in anything. Like, I'm a good salesman. Um, if I know a product really well, I can sell it quite easily, very easily. And as far as like lifting and nutrition goes, like I've been into lifting and nutrition for over 20 years now, 23 years. So I know quite a bit about lifting and nutrition, right? So even if I had some job at a gym working the front desk, that would be a great job, right? It would pay shit, which would suck. but I could give people advice that's free, right? They wouldn't have to hire a personal trainer or something to get some advice for a session. You know, I could just give free advice to people looking for it, right? Um, and just being in a gym type setting, I would enjoy, right? Because I'm around like-minded people that have the same kind of passion that I do, and like aside from sales and lifting and nutrition experience, what else do I have? Like, I'm good at some games like Magic, but the thing about Magic is skills deteriorate quite quickly if you don't keep playing, and my skills have deteriorated because I stopped playing a while back because the game was too stressful. But it wouldn't take much to get back into it and catch up with the meta to find out, you know, what the cards are and the decks are in the meta that's owning it. But Magic is out of the question because it's too stressful. It's too ungodly stressful. I can't handle it. No way. You know, I thought about it and it makes me want to smash my computer when I play Magic because seeing the same top decks and the same cards played repeatedly over and over and over again, it got to a point I played so much that somebody plays their first mana source on turn one, I can usually determine what deck they're playing and what their play is going to be that turn or the next turn based on just the first land they play. And that's saying a lot about my skill and knowledge of the game, but it's also stating a lot about the state of the game and how busted certain decks are and certain combos and certain cards are that you see them all the fucking time and can often guess what's going to be played based on a fucking mana source that is played on the first turn, right? It's saying a lot about the state of the game. And there's not much can be done about it because it's always a handful of top decks that own the format that you're playing in, and it's always the same handful of cards that see competitive play, whereas the other 85% of cards see no play. And if a player that you're up against plays a certain card that's not a good card, you're like, oh, I can beat this guy. He's playing a trash deck. He's a noob, right? And you know, it's kind of sad because Magic has a lot of potential and it could be a much better game. And I'll say that to people and they'll be like, well, what would you change? Like, how could you make it a better game? And if they made it more like Hearthstone, it would be a better game, in my opinion. And they could do that with the actual physical version of the card game by, I don't know how many of you boys play Magic, but I've figured it out before. There's a few of you. But if they had like an alternate format that was like Hearthstone for the physical card game, kind of like Alchemy, where you could have conjuration effects and stuff like that, and have a separate stack of cards similar to a sideboard, but limited like a sideboard to like 40 or 60 cards or something. And those cards are used for conjuration effects, right? And they're often duplicates of the same card for cards that you put into play that conjure cards out of nothing into your deck, and basically they come from that pile of cards, right? And that would open up a lot of options for more deck types, right? And I know I've had people say Magic is probably the most complex game there is, and that may be so, but the thing is, like, seeing the same cards and the same decks and the same combos repeatedly over and over and over again, it makes me like the deck's not that complicated. The game's not that complex and complicated, right? Once you play it so much, you can determine who's going to win in the first 5 turns or sooner than that. And it's sad. And I see the problem with most games now, and it's just it's a time waste. Games are a time waste because you don't gain anything from playing a game. You beat the game. What did you accomplish? You didn't accomplish anything. And I have this very fatal mindset about a lot of things, about like, what's the point? What's the point? What did I gain? And I have that mindset, like I said, about a lot of things in life now. Like, what do I accomplish by doing this? What did I gain? What will I gain? Nothing. And I have the mindset of, you know, what is even the point of working some minimum wage shit job? And in the end, I'm just gonna die, and it doesn't matter what kind of legacy I've built. It won't mean shit after I'm dead at 80 years old or whenever, right? It's not going to mean shit because I don't have a legacy to pass on to a future generation of my own children. And even if I did, the thing is, if I'm not alive to see it, to me it means nothing, right? And I have that fatalistic mindset about pretty much everything in my life now. I live basically for very simple pleasures that I enjoy in the moment, like smoking a cigarette or eating something. That's all I really live for now. Or jerking off. And I don't even do that much anymore because I think my test is low. But I just live for very simple pleasures that, give you pleasure in the moment, right? And it's not working for me. If I didn't smoke, didn't eat, didn't jerk off, I would have nothing that I enjoy in my life at all. Nothing. And something has to change. And the thing is, I've always ran away from myself my whole life. I would stay in one area, live at a place for, a year or two, and then move away, move to a different area, move in with new people, and, you know, build somewhat of a life in a year or two, and then move away, do the same thing again, and not really gaining any friends in the process, you know. But I look at a lot of other people and people that I've known my whole life, and they are in the same position, even though they never ran away from themselves. They haven't gained anything. They're still losers at the bottom, and they have nothing to show for their hard work or success in life. They have nothing to show for it. They don't have tons of friends either, like me, you know. So I don't know if I'm just par, but a lot of the people I know are just on the same level as me. They're losers. They never accomplished anything. So maybe I'm not doing anything really wrong, you know. And I gave it some thought, and I could literally turn my life around really quickly in like a 2 year period, or even quicker. 2 years probably, but basically get some shit minimum wage job full time, save up for a secondhand car for about a year, get about 5K and buy a secondhand beater, something that's not going to break down in the first 2 weeks. And then once I get the vehicle and have a little bit of savings, right, then I can move up to a better job because I have transportation, so I'm not limited by the town that I'm in, and make, like 40K a year. And I know to a lot of you guys that's not a lot of money, but make like 40K. And I could do a lot with 40K a year. I could buy a new car on payments bi-weekly and mortgage a house. But that's another thing too. I have no desire to have my own house. My social skills are so shit that I want to socialize with people, but I don't know how. And it's not even that I don't know how, it's just I feel socially retarded. I feel like a retard. Like I feel socially inept, you know. I don't feel skilled at social situations at all, and sometimes I wonder how I made it this far, and because I've blundered through life so much, it's just I'm amazed that I made it as far as I have so far at 41. But like, if you don't kill yourself, you know, you're not gonna fail because you're still alive, right? And that's how a lot of people see it, is like, well, you don't kill yourself, there's still hope, you didn't fail, but that's not it. You know, in life, you have different skills that have to be, improved over time, and socializing is one of them. And I don't socialize, right? And my social skills are shit, you know. When you're 15 years old looking for a girlfriend, it, it's kind of easier because you can be socially awkward because everybody else is too, because they're all 15 years old and they're all new to it too. But when you're my age, 41, and you have the social skills of a kid, like people that got left behind socially, that didn't increase their skills over time, you know, they're left floundering because they're behind, right? And I know a lot of you will contradict what I say and say it's not like that at all, but it really is, because it was actually easier for me years ago to socialize than it is now. It's worse for me now because I feel like it's a muscle I haven't been exercising, my social skills, right? And that's a big part of it. Like it feels like I have to find something greater to live for every day than what I have been my whole life. And people on the misc, there's a couple guys that'll say, you have to devote your life to God. You have to make God happy. You have to live for God, otherwise you will never be happy. And I don't believe that at all, because I'll think of situations about how, if my life changes and I start doing volunteer work at, like, a soup kitchen or something like that, and start living for other people more, I don't think it's going to make me happier. I really don't think it's going to make me happier, right? I'm a very selfish person, and maybe that's part of the problem because I'm selfish. But the way I see it is, I'm not going to volunteer my time doing stuff if I'm not going to get compensated for it in some way. Why the fuck would I? Why the fuck would I? There's people out there making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year doing less work than I did when I was working minimum wage jobs, right? And it's not fair. It's not fair at all. And I'm not going to devote my precious time to volunteer work making no money at all. You know, like when I said, there's people out there making hundreds of thousands a year doing less than I would be doing volunteer work, and it's not fair, right? And I know doing volunteer work, it looks good on a resume, right? But I don't know. I got a lot of thinking to do, a lot of contemplation, and I've done a lot of that in my life, and it doesn't seem to have done anything. I feel like I have gained nothing in my life. That I've gained nothing. It's just been a dead end. I go down a street or a path in my mind, and it comes to nothing. It's just a dead end, no exit, and I don't know what needs to change, but my life is so stagnant and unproductive and just boring. And even 15 years ago, like, I would be happy to get out of bed every day, start my day so I could just play video games all day, and I was happy with that. And now I'm not happy with that anymore. Like, you take away video games, I feel like I have nothing to live for at all. So, you know, living for video games is at least something, but I'm all played out. When I was a kid, I didn't play video games because I wasn't allowed to. And then when I became an adult, I played video games all day, every day, because it's what I wanted to do. And now I'm played out. Video games don't cut it for me anymore. It's just, I've played all the games I wanted to play, and the same thing happens with a new game I find. It ends the same. I didn't accomplish anything from beating a game. So what's the point? But we're going on a 30-minute video, and I've just rambled this whole time, and I'm quite confident none of you guys are going to watch it even this far. But we might ramble a bit more. But I've done pretty well keeping my room clean since we moved in here. You know, I got a bit of trash on my computer desk, just a bunch of empty energy drink cans. I got a bit of trash piled up beside my weight bench and squat rack just from Temu orders and stuff. But aside from those two piles of trash, there's nothing. But yeah, there ain't much to live for anymore. I just need to find something to live for, but I don't know what there would be, right? You know, for a while there, I was doing okay because I was going to arm wrestling practice, and that gave me something new to look forward to. But I came to the realization I'm just too out of shape, too fat and out of shape to be competitive in arm wrestling. So what's the point of even practicing? There's no point in even practicing for it, right? You know. And then Magic, going to the LGS and playing Magic. You know, I did that for a while and it was okay, but same thing that I said before. It's just the game's too stressful. It's too stressful of a fucking game to play. And not only that, but going to the LGS to play is too expensive, and the cost is just increasing because of the tariffs that are placed on the Magic products, right? And like to play at a draft is $45 now. $45. And the price was 30. 30, okay? And now they bumped it up to 45. I can't afford that. And same with the pre-release for the Final Fantasy set for Magic the Gathering that came out. Pre-releases were $50, and the Final Fantasy pre-release was 85. Okay, that's absolutely ridiculous. Or it was 70 or something like that. But it's still absolutely ridiculous, and I can't afford it with my income. Right? I can't afford it. There's nothing I can do. But yeah, I've rambled enough. Something needs to change. Something needs to change. Because I feel like I'm just putting in time till I'm dead now. And I, through my life, I would get that nagging feeling occasionally. I was just putting in time until I died. And, you know, now it's like I'm living that. It's not just a occasional nagging feeling. It's just, I feel like I'm living it now. And, you know, I had one of you boys say, you sound like you have one foot in the grave. And I feel like that. Like, my health isn't great, but it's better than it was a year or two ago, right? Because I'm not as overweight as I was. I'm still very overweight, but not nearly as much. I've, come down a bit. But I'm not sure what else to say, right? I can go on for hours about this shit. It's just gonna be the same thing over and over again. But I'll check out there, and I'll see you guys on the misc.